Hi guys, do you know that with 1 million naira you can fence your one plot of land in Nigeria? You want to know how? Stick to the end of this, watch this video to the end so that you can learn how to calculate the quantity of materials needed for your fencing by yourself, and in that way you won't be cheated easily by your workers. Now welcome back to my channel. Today I've come again with a video on fencing. Last week I uploaded video on fencing, and today again I am here because there are so many requests on this. Some people requested on 60 by 120, while some requested for 100 by 50, like 50 by 100 feet of land. And in this video I am going to discuss based on 60 by 120 because those who requested for it are much, and 11 coaches. Please, if you request for any video, be patient, wait until I work on it because you didn't pay for it. And if you think and feel that you need it urgently and you want me to help you calculate the quantity of materials needed for your building, kindly go ahead and make your payment. It's just 50,000. I don't charge much. Make your payment and I'll attend to you first. If not, please sit back patiently and wait until I upload video that has to do with what you need, okay, so that it won't look as if I'm ignoring anybody. Thank you so much. Let's dive into the video. As I've said earlier, we are working with 60 by 120, and in this video we are going to discuss about fencing of two plots of land, two plots, which is 120 by 120 feet of land. That is 1,296 square meter. All right. In this project, we have four phases. For the first one, or four stages. The first one is the clearing and excavating stage. The second one is the pouring of the concrete stage. The third one is the laying of blocks, and then the final one will be the fixing of gates with the pillars that will hold the gate. So let's start with the clearing and the excavation. We all know what clearing is. In this project, the depth of the area to be excavated is 0.6 meter, which is equal to 1.9885 feet. The width of the area to be excavated is 0.675 meter, which equals 2.2145 feet. The total length of the land, I've said it initially, is 1,296 square meter, which equals 480 feet. That is 120 plus 120 plus 120 plus 120. That is 480 feet. And this equals 146.304 meter. Then here we'll remove the area for gate because we are not going to dig that area. We are not going to excavate it. So we'll remove the area for gate, which is 11 feet, because the area won't be excavated, as I've said initially. So now the area to be fenced is no more 180 feet. It will now be 480 minus 11, which will give us 469. All right, and when this will equal 469 feet, or 146.304 meter, minus the 12 feet that where gate will be, which is 3.6576 meter. When you minus this, you will now have 144.6464 meter. That is approximately 145 meter. The area to be excavated is, or the area where to be fenced is 145 meter. All right, after removing the space for gate. So now, to calculate the cost of the place that will be fenced or the excavated area is, firstly you multiply the depth by the width and then by the total length of the area, which is The depth, I've said it, is 0.6 meter. The width is 0.675. And then the total length of the area is 145 meter. We have approximated it. This will give us 58 point, in short, 59 meter, approximately 59 meter. So the rate of the excavation is um let me say 1,000. Here I calculated 1,000. Please, it might not be up to, in short, the probability of it not being up to is so big. So they might be charging 500, 400, 600 in your area. Just try to negotiate with them. But here I worked with 1,000 naira per meter, because that is how so many of them charge. They charge per meter. So now we have 59 meter. You multiply it by that 1,000 that I'm working with here. It will give you, that is the total cost of excavating the total area now is 1,000 by 145 meter. I need to say 1,000 by 145 meter, and that will give us 149 and 145,000 naira. Now, the rate of clearing, let's take it to be 400. I calculated with 400 per meter here. You multiply it as well. 400 multiplied by 140. Remember that when it comes to clearing, you're going to clear everywhere. There's nothing like where gate will be, like during excavation. During excavation, we removed where gate will be because we are not going to dig or excavate it. But when it comes to clearing, you will clear everywhere. So we are working with the 146 that we got initially. So you multiply 400 by 146 meter, we are having like 58,522, now approximately 60,000 naira. So now the cost of excavation and clearing the ground is 145,000 plus the 60,000 for clearing, and that will give us 205,000 naira. Remember, I worked with 1,000 naira for excavating per meter, which it might not be up to in your area, and also 400 for clearing, and it might not be also up to in your area. So it depends on the charging. Always negotiate with your workers. But with what I have calculated with, we have 205,000 naira for this stage. So now the second stage, which is the cost of pouring and mixing concrete footings. Here in this building construction, in building construction, not just in this, it's always the ratio recommended is always 1/3/6. 1/3/6. That is, one bag of cement goes with 3 buckets of sand and then 6 buckets of granite. That is what I mean by 1/3/6. That is always, in short, most at times that is the measurement they use for mixing of concrete. All right. So, and it's always they always use 19 mm, that is 3/4 granite, 19 mm granite. All right. So with this ratio now, one bag of cement with 3 head pans of sand and 3 head pans of granite. When mixing the footings, we recommend the size of, I've said it anyway, 3/4, which is 19 mm. And to find out the number and volume of materials needed for the concrete, we multiply the total length of the fence by the width of the excavation and then the thickness of the concrete. All right. Remember that the total length of the place to fence in this project is 145 meter. The sum of the ratio is 1 plus 3 plus 6, which will give us 10. That is the 1/3/6. Will give, when you sum it up, it will give us 10. Now, the width of the excavated foundation is 0.675 meter. I've said it before. The thickness of the mixed concrete, here we use 0.1 meter. All right. So some places they might use 0.05, but we use 0.1 meter for the because it's a dry land. But if it's a swampy area or is always more. All right. So that one varies. But here, as you can see, is a dry land. So we use 0.1 meter for that. So the total volume of the concrete is 145 meter multiplied by 0.6675 meter multiplied by the thickness, which is 0.1 meter, and we are having 9.7875 meter. All right. So to find how many bags of cement is the total volume divided by the sum of ratio, which is the total volume here is 9.7875, which we just got. Then you divide it by 10, which is the total ratio. We will be having 0.97875. All right. Taking a constant of 0.035 meter for a volume of 1 bag of cement. All right. So let's 0.035 meter for a volume of 1 bag of cement. The total bags of cement for the concrete footings will now be 0.97875 divided by that constant, which is 0.035, giving us 27.964, approximately 28 bags of cement. All right. So to total the bags now, we have 28 bags of cement for this project. Now to find the volume of sand needed, you will say the same thing, 0.97875 multiplied by 3. Remember that the ratio of sand is 3. We have 1 bag of cement, 3 pan of head pan of sand, and 6 head pan of granite. So here we are multiplying by 3, and that will give us 2.93625 meter. All right. Now, taking a volume of 1 trip, let's take a volume of 1 trip of sand to be 3.8 meter. The quantity of sand needed now will now be 2.83625 divided by 3.8, which is the volume of 1 trip, and that will give us 0.773 meter. This is almost about a trip of sand, which is 10 tons of sand. So to find the volume of granite now, remember in our last video we are working with 35,000 for sand. All right. So now to find, this is almost 1 trip of sand. So we will just approximate it to 1 trip of sand, because that is what you will buy. Then to find the volume of granite needed is the same way, 0.97875 multiplied by 6, which is the ratio of granite, and that will give us 5.8725 meter. Now taking a volume of granite to be 3.8 as well, the total granite needed will be 5.8725 divided by 3.8, and that will give us 1.545 meter, which is about 1.5 trip of granite for the concrete. Therefore, the total amount of money needed for the concrete materials will now be 28 bags of cement multiplied by 5,000. Remember, we are working with 5,000 as a price of cement per bag. That will give us 140,000. Then 10 tons of sand, which is 1 trip of sand, multiplied by 35 is still 35. Then 1.5 trip of granite, 90,000 per 1 trip, because I told you people that 30 tons is 270, so 10 tons is 90,000, which means 90,000, the half of it is 45. That gives us 135,000. Sum it up, you have 310,000 for the materials. Now let's talk about the cost of labor for this is 1,000 per one bag of cement. Normally they charge per bag of cement. It might not be up to 1,000 in your area. Negotiate with them, all right? But here I am working with 1,000. They might charge you 600, 700, 800. But I'm working with 1,000 here. When you multiply it by 28, which is the total a bag of cement we have 28,000. Then the price for pouring of the concrete, they do charge for that as well. Here I calculated with 50,000, so we have total of 78,000 naira. Now the total cost for materials and labor for mixing and pouring the concrete on the excavated ground is 310,000 plus 78,000. That gives us 388,000 naira. The next stage now is cost of laying blocks. Here, remember that we are working with 11 coaches. All right, 11 coaches of block. Two coaches will be buried on the ground as the foundation. All right, while the remaining 9 coaches will be the fence wall. Now, to calculate the number of blocks needed for the fencing of the 2 plots of land, which is 120 by 120, before we calculate, I want you to know that the length of any given block is always 450 mm, which is 0.45 meter. All right, which equals 18 inches, and the width is commonly 150 mm for 6 inches block and 225 mm for 9 inches block. So to calculate the number of blocks to be laid on the fence is 145 meter, which is our total length for the area that will be fenced, divided by 0.45 meter, which is the length of the block. All right, that will give us 322 blocks. That means that 322 blocks will be used to level the first coach on the total portion of the ground. All right, the first coach on the total portion of the ground, that is to be fenced. Therefore, in order to level it to 11 feet height, which is 11 coaches, we have to multiply 322 by 11, and that will give us 3,542 blocks. So we are working with 500 naira per block. You know that block might not be up to 500 in your area, but let's work with 500. Okay, when you multiply this 542 by 500, you're having 1,771,000. All right, now to calculate the number of pillars or columns to use on the fence, we are using blocks for pillars because it's a dry land, as you can see. All right, so what we have to do is to divide 145, which is the total length of the area to be fenced, by 3 meter, and that will give us 48 pillars. 48 pillars. This 3 meter is the distance between one pillar to another. So when we remove that 2, we'll be left with 46 pillars. Now, to get the total number of blocks to be used on the pillar is 11 blocks multiplied by 11, which is the number of coaches. All right, and that will give is 1 block, not 11. 1 block multiplied by 11, and that is 11 blocks. So now 11 blocks is for 1 pillar. All right, so you have to multiply 46, which is the total pillar, by 11 for 1 pillar, and that will give us 506 blocks. All right, the total blocks that needed will now be 3,541 plus this 506 for blocks for pillar, and that will total 4,047 blocks. Don't forget that blocks breaks. All right, when you're buying, don't, or when you're molding, don't just mold 4,047 blocks or buy 4,047. You can go for at least 4,002, but I still multiplied 4,047 blocks here by 500, which is the price we are working with, and that gives us 2.23 million 500 naira That is with 500 naira per block. So let's assume block is being sold at the rate of 300. All right. When you multiply it by this 4,047 blocks, you are getting like 1.214 100. You see the difference, a huge amount of difference. All right. So huge. So now cement. Cement needed to lay this blocks will be 50 blocks goes for one cement, one bag of cement. All right. 50 blocks for one bag of cement. So to get this how many bags of cement for this 4,047 blocks, we'll divide 4,047 by 50, and that will give us 80.94, approximately 81 bags of cement. All right. Multiply by 5,000, which is what we are working with. We have 405,000 naira. Now, sand for this. Sand needed is just one trip. One trip is okay for this work. Then labor. Labor cost, when it comes to blocks, some places they charge per block, some places they don't. And if in your I would advise you ask them to charge you per block. It's always cheaper. Here I worked with 80 naira per block. So multiply the total block, which is 4,047, by 80. We are having 323,760. It might not be up to 80 naira, and it depends on the size of block you are using. I think some places is even 50 naira for 6 inches, 70 or 60 for 9 inches. So you should always negotiate. Now we are having the total cost of laying blocks. It will not be 2.23,500 plus 405,000 plus 35 for sand and plus 323,760 for workmanship, and that will give us 2.787260, 2,787,216 naira. Now, let's talk about the gate. Here what you will need is just little granite for the two pillars, for casting of the two pillars. Like half trip is okay, sharp sand like half trip as well. But if you have any leftover granite and sand, good and fine, you minus the money from that. Cement like 4 bags. All right. Planks, that's just like 10 lengths of planks. Iron rod 16 mm was used. Just 3 lengths is okay. Remember 16 mm, we are using 8,500 as the rate it is. Then gates, here I calculated with 250,000 naira for the gate. So it depends on what you want. If you want the one of 1 million, you want the one of 500, want the one of 100,000, it depends. You calculate it. That is why it's better you learn how to calculate so that you can do the calculation by yourself. Then cost of labor, bag of cement here is just 4 by 1,000. I worked with 1,000 per bag, that is 4,000. Then the pouring of the concrete, 6,000. Then the carpentry work for the pillar, 10,000. And this totaled 395,500. The totaling I'm giving here is a bit high, I know. But what I want you to know is just to learn how to calculate it by yourself. That is why I'm stressing myself doing all this. So that you will get the prices of materials in your area and calculate by yourself. Then you know that what you're going to negotiate with them is just their workmanship. All right. So when you total all this, we are having the clearing and excavation is giving us 205,000. Mixing and pouring concrete footings is giving us 388,000. Laying blocks is giving us 2.787260. Putting gates and two pillars is giving us 395,500. Supervision 200,000, and at the end we are having 3.975760. 3,975,716 naira. But if the block is if it's with 300 naira per block, we are having total of 2.4 2,600, 2,402,600. You see why I keep telling you that the prices of material. There are some factors you will look into. Just learn how to calculate it. You see the differences here from 3.975 to 2.4. You see, so the differences is high. What happens if cement is being sold at the rate of 4,600 in your area, 4,500, 4,000? You see, the price will be dropping. What happens if the charges per block is 500 or 600? The price will be dropping because I calculated with 1,000 here. What happens if materials in your area is cheaper than what I'm calculating here? The prices will be dropping. So what you need to know is to learn how to calculate it so that whatever you get in the market, you calculate it with it, and by doing that you'll be able to get at least relatively amount of money that you'll be spending for your project. Thank you so much for watching to this extent. I hope this is helpful. And if it's helpful, don't forget to click the like button. Don't forget to share everywhere. Share everywhere so that you can get more views. That is the only way you're encouraging me, right? And don't forget to subscribe or follow if you haven't done that. Thank you so much. I love you guys. See you next time. Bye.
Zero.